Recorded Books and One Click Digital present Cast a Road Before Me by Brandilyn Collins, narrated by Christina Moore.
1960. Chapter 1. The last time I saw my mother alive, she was on her way to serve the poor. She was wearing one of her favorite dresses, a blue cotton knit with a sash at the waist. She'd had it for years. It was her favorite, not because of style, but because it was comfortable and easy to wash. "This dress will do just fine," she would say, whenever I bewailed the notion that she wore it so much to Hope Center, people might think she slept in it. She was far more careful in dressing for work, starching blouses and skillfully mending old skirts so they would not bespeak her lack of a wardrobe. She'd add one of her 3 pairs of dime-store earrings, sometimes an inexpensive necklace. But any jewelry was out of the question at the center, where it would only get in the way, or, worse, remind the homeless and hungry that their needs were far beyond our own. As for the blue cotton dress, it had been spit up on by mewling babies, dirtied by the spilled soup of children, even torn by the clutching hand of a frightened young mother. Mom would drag home from another long evening at Hope Center, her beautiful face lined with fatigue, and a thick strand of her dark auburn hair straggling out of its rubber band, and shake her head good-naturedly over the day's ruin of her dress. Then she'd wash it by hand and hang it up to dry for the next time. I often volunteered alongside Mom at the center. After my homework was done and her workday as a receptionist at an insurance firm was finished, we'd hurry through a simple meal, then drive to the 2-story brick building in downtown Cincinnati that provided room and board to the poverty-stricken. Saturdays I always went with her. Except that Saturday. My high school sophomore finals were the following week, and Mom had insisted I stay home to study. "You stay home too," I'd pleaded. "You're exhausted, and you haven't given yourself a day off in weeks. Let somebody else fill in for you, just this once." "Oh, but I can't," she'd replied softly. "I promised little John Ying and a whole group of children I'd read to them today. And then I've got to teach that class on how to interview for a job. And besides, Brenda's sick, so I've got to oversee cooking dinner." Brenda Todd had founded the center 10 years previously and acted as manager. Mom had been her right-hand woman for 8 years. And so, on that horrific Saturday, my mother kissed me goodbye and walked out the door of our small rented house and down our porch to leave. I followed, still protesting. "Then at least let me come with you. Maybe I can help with dinner, and you could come home after the class. I'll get somebody to give me a ride home. I can study all day tomorrow." She placed her hands with firm gentleness on my shoulders. "No, Jessie. Stay here and study. And maybe I can find someone to replace me tomorrow. I wouldn't mind a day in bed." She smiled, trying to hide her tiredness as she slid into our battered Chevy Impala. I will always remember that smile. It is cut into my brain like a carved cameo. I can picture her blue dress, the paleness of her cheeks, void of makeup, the warmth of her brown eyes. She'd placed her worn white purse beside her on the seat, its bent handle flopping forward. Something about that old purse tugged at my heart. I thought of the long hours she was about to put in, again, for no pay. How many dresses, how many purses could she have bought had she spent as much time earning money? Mom hadn't led an easy life herself, yet she was always thinking of others. Her husband, my father...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.